iodine is, I would say, the general mineral for optimal health. Oxygen being the other mineral for optimum health. And we're looking at it being a very important component of many of our organs, as I mentioned, not just thyroid, but the heart, big player in adrenals, lungs, breast, skin. It is actually involved in estrogen regulation and progesterone regulation in the ovaries. There's definitely been research connecting it in that way. So it's like the whole system. Now there's one other thing, which we didn't, which I'm entering now, is the spiritual discussion. First, when you take the Illumodine, so I'm going to talk about Illumodine in specific now, you have to be a little careful initially because it forces out fluoride from the pineal gland where it's calcified. So it uncalcifies the pineal gland. It also forces out bromine, which for some reason they're putting in salt, but it's one of the top 12 toxins and carcinogens. It forces bromine out of the system. Chloride, lead, mercury, and cadmium. So initially when you're starting, you got to start with a low dose because too many toxins come out at once. So I recommend the average people take is about 15 drops 3 times a day. Needs to be an hour from food because it will interact with the food, like first thing in the morning, kind of an hour before, a few hours after breakfast, and a few hours in the mid-afternoon. You can take it food about 20 minutes after, 15 to 20 minutes after, so that's good. With adults, I suggest start like 5 drops 3 times a day, wait a few days, see how you're doing. No toxicity, go to 10 drops 3 times a day. Fine. Then go up to 15. There are some people taking 30 or 40 drops a day, depending on their condition. But on the average, 15 drops 3 times a day is good. Just start a little slowly. Now for kids, age 2 to puberty, I go half that dose. And for babies, remember, it's very important for brain development, and it's mucolytic, so it's the kapha, it's treating kapha. We use like just a drop or 2. Not a dropper, a drop or 2 drops or 3 drops. I don't really go above that 3 times a day. So really, it's the universal mineral. It's needed for all kinds of things. Now back to the spiritual, I mentioned it's clearing the pineal gland and calcification, opening it up. The thyroid represents the fifth chakra, and it's connected really with the opening up of the fifth chakra, but also pineal gland. So 6, 7 chakras too. So it's the upper chakras that we're looking at. But the fifth is the one that most people associate that it helps open up. So to me, it really is the most important mineral, besides oxygen, for overall function. I mean, I just listed about 23 different things. So just get, so it's a big player in your overall health. I didn't mention as much in diabetes, but we definitely, almost all diabetics are deficient in iodine. I definitely use it, and usually, as I mentioned, diabetics need more. In this research done from 1997 to 2005, they were using 100 milligrams. Now, that may seem high when you say 0.4 milligrams is, quote, safe, but then keep in mind that using 300 to 900 milligrams around 1911 and people were fine. And when they did the study in 1917, they were using 18.6 milligrams for several years, and all the schoolgirls were fine, and they all got better. So we have a very serious mythology on iodine being dangerous when it apparently isn't in long-term studies. 2 years, 7-year studies. I mean, those are good studies with thousands of people. So I kind of meant making that point as well. So they say iodine is your universal health mineral. And it's good to see it that way. I recommend everybody take iodine. The Illumodine is what we call, iodine comes as I2, and then it's broken down into I-. And as I-, it's far more active. And Illumodine is in the I- form. And it's activated in that way. So it's better absorbed, better utilized as I-. I would also like to note that there was research when I talk about parasites in its use for treating malaria. We are actually going to do some research in 2 malaria areas. But in India, a very wealthy businessman had very serious malaria. He's about ready to die of it, and he used a form of this I- iodine, and it cured his malaria. So I think we may see it as a mineral that prevents malaria and treats malaria. And we will be doing some research on that specifically. But then again, it has all these other qualities too. There is another halogen out there, the kind of special hyperchlorite type thing that people are using to treat malaria too. But chloride isn't really good for you. So we're looking at something that's really good for you that also protects you from malaria. It's a much more holistic approach to it.